Ladies, are you dreaming big enough? I want you to dream big and act bigger. You see, I want to have power. I want to be empowered. Suddenly, being empowered is a more positive word because I want to make sure that I know my own values, my boundaries. I know what I want to achieve in life. Visible and invisible barriers are only a problem if you accept them as such. So a woman with a big dream also needs to have a plan, because without a plan, that dream is just a wish.
I love her confidence, I love her charisma and her positivity and her brightness and her color and her lessons about life. You know, as a woman who's been through so much, it was really, really inspiring and really interesting.
I had 4 kids in 2 years. I wanted to be a businesswoman. I had no money. I had to think, how is this dream going to happen? If you actually start believing if something's important to you, just back yourself. Back yourself despite what other people say. Successful people are not held back by what other people say.
I would recommend that for everybody, because everybody should have a dream and everybody should back themselves. So I think she's awesome.
Even when it feels like everything's not going to work, they go, you know what? I'm going to make sure that this does work. I'm going to be positive despite, because it brings energy, it brings opportunity. And as soon as you actually get half glass empty, your vision will start failing. I encourage you to start making your dreams a reality in business and in life. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to our Mindset Magic Summit, brought to you by Women's Biz Global. Oh my goodness, it's just been such an incredible summit. Those of you who might be first timers don't know that every 3 months Women's Biz Global put on this summit. We get speakers from around the world who just inspire us, are so dazzling with their words of wisdom, and just so inspirational, really, that we can learn their tips and tricks that they freely give us. It has been incredible. I've loved your engagement, and this is our final speaker for this summit, and I am going to introduce you to Pauliana Lara. So welcome, Pauliana.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
I am so well. I've been so pumped. I've just enjoyed every single speaker, and I'm just so delighted to get to the final speaker, and it's you. I just love spending time with you. You've been on my platform before, and we always have so much fun together. Those of you who don't know Pauliana, she is an attorney from the US, and she's all about sharing her story about balance, right? She's known for saying, you know, get into the bliss, not the burdens of being a working mom, right? We're all trying to do it all. And that's the constant thing that many people come to me and I'm sure to you all the time now, going, well, how do you do it all? How do you manage to actually achieve your dreams? You know, go for the success. How do you even measure that success? What does it look like for you? Reach your potential. And then life happens, and then all these other competing forces happen, right? You've got kids, you've got hobbies, you've got partners, and they may all come and go. Life can get messy, and you can get those stages that goes, how do you actually keep your cool and focus? So I am really looking forward to hearing your words of wisdom on that, because this is what Pauliana, besides doing her day job, really specializes. This is her passion, on actually trying to help people from her experience, her lived experience, on how can we actually do it all, or do it a little bit better. So I'm going to hand it over to you to share with us, Pauliana. I'd love you just to share your story, probably just to set the scene. Here you are. What has been your journey to success? And then what have been the big challenges that have then set up for the following part of our conversation? That will be the tips and tricks on actually how do you have mindset shifts that really are going to help you in your life.
Oh gosh, Annie, so much. I mean, I think we could do a summit just on, working mom mindset. That is what I speak about. That is what I'm passionate about. And that's really the message that I truly, truly want to share. And I get such fulfillment in sharing, because it's such a vital part of our society, whether Australia, Los Angeles, it's a global issue. I think for me, I can get into my story, and I always say this on every podcast, summit, everything. I'm thrilled to be here. And as cliche as that sounds, it's really sincere, because the journey was a very bumpy one for me. You and I have talked on other platforms and other opportunities. And, for working moms, at least for me, none of it was easy. And I think primarily the first thing that I think is important to talk about is there's a shame and a guilt that is inherent in being a working mom. Young women graduating from college who want to become professionals, that's their primary focus. I'm going to be an accountant. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. So it's easy to have that clear image and that clear focus, and kind of your checklist of the things you need to do to become successful, whether it's get a certain degree, or do research, or find the capital to start a business. Well, and just like you said, life happens. I always say, along came a boy, and suddenly that focus kind of starts getting a little blurry, because you want to get married and you want to start a family, and your focus, your time, your energy kind of gets split in half. And I think as much as you can plan and prepare for it, when it really happens, it's very, very difficult. There are so many things pulling at you. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is shame. And Annie, you mentioned it in the intro. I'm an attorney. I'm not a therapist, a psychiatrist, a doctor by any means. And the thing that I'm sharing today is my life experience, my story and my journey. And my hope is, if I can give one audience member, one watcher, one listener, one viewer, some comfort and some insight and some hope that you can do it all and be good at doing motherhood and being a professional or a career woman, I promise you that there is a way of doing it, but it's about the mindset. So I love the Mindset Magic caption title, because it's really what it comes down to. First thing, shame. I never thought I would be ashamed of being a working mom. I saw so many other people do it. I thought it was going to be great. I was going to have my children, figure out daycare for them, whatever, arrangements I needed to make. And then I would just go back to my office and have, the career that I always had dreamt of since I was a little girl. But I always see shame as an external thing. I didn't feel shame about being a working mom. It's the judgment, the statements, the comments, the body language that other people expressed about my choice of being a working mom. For example, oh, you went back to work so early. It's like, what does that mean? I'm back at work because I've worked very hard to establish myself in this industry. I have clients that I want to service, and I have goals and hopes as a career woman. So when somebody makes the comment of, oh, you went back to work so early, they're essentially shaming me for going back to work too early. And this happened with both of my children. And I didn't think it was early. I was home for several months with both of my children. I was very fortunate and very lucky to work at a law firm who worked with me and was very accommodating. But I felt good about going back to work. So it wasn't that I was ashamed. It's that somebody else made me feel shamed about going back to work early. Or when I would, just casually make a comment of, I'm gonna leave because I have to pick up my son from daycare or preschool. Oh, they're so young, poor kid, you had to put him in preschool. I mean, that was just such an awful feeling inside of me to have somebody else criticize my choice to have to put my child in daycare at 1 year, when he was 1, or a couple, like 10 months, 11 months. Because again, I wanted to go back to work. And, Annie, there's also the financial component. Careers also provide, mortgage, health insurance, income for diapers and food, and, fill in all the blanks. So it wasn't that I was this heartless, selfish, negligent mother. It was that I had my own reasons for going back to work. So the shame, again, is an external thing. I never felt shame about going back to work early or being a working mom. So the shame mindset and the shame takeaway for the audience is, you kind of got to mute it and you got to just turn it off. Just a quick aside, just happened a few days ago. I was in a group and a working mom had posted literally the question of, how do you respond to somebody who criticizes you for putting your child into daycare when they're babies? And all the other moms were responding and chatting and saying, oh, you should say this, you should say that. And literally I said, why respond? It was 2 words. I literally wrote 2 words. I said, why respond? And somehow, Annie, that became the most liked comment. And I'm not this big social media person. And everybody was like. And, I was starting to think, wow, it's really resonating with people. Because you don't need to explain to somebody why you're doing the things you're doing, because it's their image, their judgment, their opinion of your choice. So the first thing I would say about mindset when it comes to shame of being a working mom is, it's difficult and it gets emotional. I get it. I was there. Is if you can just turn that off and realize that you are doing what's best for you and what's best for your family, including your children. So the mindset is, turn that off and just focus on the things you need to do. The second thing, Annie, is the guilt of being a working mom. For me, that's internal, because I wanted to stay at home as much as I could and be with my children. I missed them. I wanted to, be the one that they were there for. I wanted to be involved with all the little milestones and the developments. And so guilt is an internal feeling. Nobody made me feel guilty about, on other platforms and other events that I've done, I talk about feeling guilty for taking too long of a shower. I felt bad. I would just want to take a quick shower and get out because the kids were by themselves and I didn't want them to be alone. And that was nuts. But I felt guilty. I mean, nobody knew how long my shower was. Nobody knew, how long the kids had been playing or sleeping or whatever. But I had real struggles with feeling guilty about the things I needed to do to feel better about myself. And again, this very powerful word of mindset comes into this picture too. I encourage all the moms out there, really do the things that fulfill you mentally, emotionally, even physically. It's tough being a working mom. There's a whole host of issues that make this a very challenging, wearing the 2 hats. But, you sometimes just have to do the little things that you need to do. Dumb issue, like, getting your nails done. I remember once there was a mom who came to daycare to pick up, and, she was walking with the stiff nails because I could tell she had just gotten her nails done. And I thought, good for her. She left her kids at daycare probably for another hour to get her nails done. And I thought, she probably feels great. So I respected that mom, and I, looked up to her for taking care of her own needs. And I would have felt guilty about that. But I started to change my mindset and realize, you know what? I need to feel good about who I am first before I could be a present, engaged, nurturing, loving mother to these children. But if I was frantic and constantly tired and constantly stressed and constantly guilty and constantly feeling like I had neglected myself, how could I ever be what these children needed? So the guilt part was a lot, it was much more difficult for me to get over the hurdles. And it was really a change in my mindset. I realized, you know what? If I'm falling apart because I'm tired, I'm anxious, I'm stressed out, I look like a cave woman, I haven't gotten my hair done, my eyebrows done, my nails done, what am I offering to these children? And slowly, I started to feel less guilty about doing the things that I needed to do. And I started looking at my career, instead of feeling guilty that I was leading them in daycare and feeling bad, I started looking at it as, you know what, this is making me a more fulfilled and a more well-rounded person. So when I come home, I feel good about the time I put in at work. I feel proud of the work that I did. And again, not to mention, I was generating a very nice income to provide for these children. Having children is not cheap. I mean, in your reel, you said you had 4 babies in 2 years. My head was spinning for all the things I'm talking about. So you, Annie Gibbins, are Wonder Woman. You're a rock star. You're like an angel for being able to do that, because I had 2 kids, within 26 months, and that was challenging. So I bow down to you. You're amazing for, being able to do what you did. I see you laughing.
But crazy, right? Totally crazy.
I mean, but it's true, because the things that I'm taught, and then look at you now. You're this amazing woman who's being so encouraging and setting such a beautiful, inspiring role model for other women who, want to pursue these 2 things in their lives. I know a lot of the people coming to the summit are working moms.
Mm-hmm.
And to see somebody like you to be able to do it, and so gracefully and so confidently and with such passion, is really, really inspiring. So I'm thankful for you. And I think it all kind of feeds into being able to do the things that make you feel good about yourself. Because if you're good up here, you're good in your heart. And when you're good in your heart, I think you have so much more to offer, not just society, but, the people under your roof.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for those kind words, and thank you so much for what you've shared so far. I just want to take stock of it. The shame and the guilt information content that you just shared, it was just so great to actually raise those issues, because I know every working mum around the world is like, yes, these women understand me. It's just crazy. And so much, I love that image of the cave woman kind of going, and so much passive aggressiveness in there. It's kind of like, I want to be this perfect person. I don't want to, have other people judging me or letting me down. But if you're feeling, you can end up being, sad and resentful, and you can just suddenly snap, and then, envy, and it's not a healthy place, So I actually love the fact that you have raised these issues, and a lot of that shame. And I know that, that's right. I had 4 kids in 26 months. And even when I then sort of said, and I loved it. I loved, having all these babies, certainly blessed beyond belief. But I also had those other dreams that every woman will have, reaching your own potential. Why was I born onto this planet? Yes, to be this mom, but but also to have these other, opportunities and to use my mind and to contribute to society and to also, that's right. I love what you said, that's right. You need that career, you need that finance to be able to provide this amazing life that you want to for your children. And when people say those comments, and I want other people to realize the impact that they have on really sensitive mums who are trying to juggle it all and get it all right. When you have those statements of, oh, wow, you're going back to work early, or who's going to be looking after your children, or how do your kids feel about that? Or, oh, okay, you're really rushing back. Those sorts of, it's the tone, it's the words, and it says a lot about them, but it devastates. If you're like me, Pauliana, you would have been sitting there going, oh, am I really such a bad person? And it really
absolutely does. And Annie, one thing which is so interesting, and I talk about this, what I found was mind-blowing was oftentimes these worst comments were coming from other moms.
Yes.
I mean, it's one thing if it was a woman who didn't have children who couldn't relate. But when it was another mom, at my office, it was like, what happened to our tribe? What happened to our community? What happened to our village? Instead of saying, you know what, I remember those days, or, good for you for being able to be here so you could support and provide for your children. Like, don't shame me as another mom. That to me was, it's like that dagger. Exactly. It was like that dagger just went a little deeper, or if it was a male coworker or, somebody else, but another mom who should have your back and who should say, you know what, good for you. Don't worry about it. The kids don't know the difference. They're having so much fun at preschool. They don't even notice that you're not there. Time flies for them. It was like other moms making you feel bad. That to me, Annie, was shocking and much more hurtful.
So shocking and so hurtful. And actually, it's one of the big whys why I created Women's Biz Global and Women's Biz Tribe, because I believe moving forward that women can do this better, right? We can have all our issues and trying to go for gender equality and all that sort of thing. And I'm totally on board with that. But women can collaborate. Women can be supporting women, loving on women, in trying to bring out the best in their fellow sister, right? And we can do that, in leaps and bounds better than we have traditionally. And in our experience has been that, a decade or two before where we are now, I do believe we are improving in this space, but we need to continue doing that. I remember, Pauliana, when I went for an interview for a head teacher of nursing role, and the main interviewer, who was a woman and a mom, said, Annie, if you are successful in this role, and it's a very important, busy, role, who's going to be looking after your children? And I just was floored. I was like, wow, they would never ask that of my husband. They've got no idea of my situation. And it just really amazed me. But I remember getting that sort of same angst and going, and you're a mom. You're supposed to be going, this is an amazing opportunity. And I honor you as a fellow mom. The fact that we can do it all.
Exactly. Or Annie, something along the lines of, we're thrilled to have you be a part of our team, and we'll support you however you need, and let us know what we can do for you. And look, I get it. Business owners are there for the bottom line, but their assumption is because you're a mother, your whole head, your whole focus, your whole energy is going to be there. And so
it's like, are you only half present because you're a mum? It's like, no, when I'm at work and I'm here, I am 100% dedicated to this role. I will create an arrangement that my children are at childcare or being looked after in a certain way. It's not a problem. I'm totally 100% here at this time, like anyone else would be.
Yeah. And Annie, I think we're kind of going to start running out of time here, but the other thing that I want to talk about, which I do I think you and I did a whole podcast on this about, the whole work-life balance thing. I think you just hit the nail on the head. Some of the judgment comes because coworkers or, supervisors or HR, whatever, see some women at work not engaged and not focused. And, they're half in. And I always talk about, learning to be disciplined. So the working moms out there, when you're at work, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, whatever your work hours are, because nothing is really traditional anymore. And especially in a post-COVID world, which is a whole other subject that we could probably spend several hours talking about. I tell working moms, when you're at work, be engaged, be focused, be productive, go get the results, get the sales, get the clientele, whatever you need to do while you're at work. I know moms who were online shopping. They're doing a bunch of social media. They're planning birthday parties. Some of these women have access to the cameras that the daycare provides, and they're just watching the baby cam footage for 2-3 hours at a time and falling behind at work. And I know it's tempting, and I know you want to see how your child is doing. I was that mom. I wanted to know what my kids were doing, but I had deadlines, I had clients, I had projects, I had assignments that I needed to do. And it was another shift in the mindset of, be balanced. So if you're at work and you really put in the time and you really put in the work and you get the results and you see the progress, and your client is happy and you're building, all the things you need to do. And then when you go home, you're done. You're mom. It's bath and crayons and, crafts and reading and homework and all the other activities that they want to do. For years, Annie, my worlds were colliding. I was on the phone with a client, changing a diaper or trying to do a quick email while somebody was taking a bath, and I was not able to balance it. I read an article about keeping all the balls in the air and pick what is a glass ball and what's a rubber ball. Sometimes you can't afford to drop the ball because it's too costly. It's a client, it's a sale, it's somebody else's life, it's somebody else's future. But the discipline there is the mindset shift of, when I'm at work, productivity, focus, results, goals, whatever it is you need to do, so that when you do go home, you're mom. I see these young female attorneys emailing me at 2-3 in the morning. And guess what? I know that they're not going to be able to do that when they're moms, because they're going to be completely exhausted and their bodies need rest. Their minds need rest. And I so want to tell them, you know what, dear, get into the habit of doing work during work hours so that after hours, you're relaxed and recharging your battery and doing the things that bring pleasure and joy for you on a personal level, not just for work. So I think it's critical, and I think it's a tough discipline, but if women can, just like you said, when you're at work, be 100% focused. And of course, there's lunch and breaks and whatever like that, but don't blur those lines of mom and career, because it gets noticed, and you don't want more shame and more judgment to be foisted upon you because you're encouraging it. Your boss comes in and you're on Facebook or you're on Instagram looking up, best birthday party ideas or, stuff like that. It's almost like you're welcoming and you're inviting the judgment and you're inviting the shame, because they're saying, look, I'm paying you to be here. And here you are, on Pinterest looking up room decor ideas. You're not focused. You're not here for the best interest of the company. And sometimes there's some validity to that. So just like you said, if you're being given the opportunity to be a career woman, make that your focus during the day so that at night you're 100% focused on the people in your home, your kids, your family. And I think that's critical for success.
Oh, I think it is so critical. It's saying, what you're saying is, you do you in your way, in the best way, best version of yourself, right? This is my little summary take home. And you go, you do you. Definitely spend time knowing who that person is and how you want to show up and how you're going to measure that success and what's actually really important to you. And then you're actually saying to us, when you're at work, be fully present, be engaged for all the right reasons. And then also give yourself permission to say that time, that appropriate time that you've been paid for, that you've given that time and attention to, has now finished. And now you are fully present at home. It's like this, all the research on multitasking actually shows that while you're trying to do a bit of both, while you're sending an email while the baby's in the bath and this and bits and pieces, you're not doing either of them well. You're not showing up as this best version of self. And you can get trapped into this view of, oh, but I have to do it all. I have to do it. You know, I couldn't not do this now. But it's amazing that, I mean, I talk to successful people all around the world now. And what I've heard is just consistently is be fully present where you are. Even though most successful people in the world go, I go for a little jog every morning and then I do some yoga and then I eat this sort of way and I spend this time in the office. They're very intentional with their action, right?
Exactly.
And then they're able to appreciate that, yes, you can, when you feel that shame by other people, that's their story. That's their view, that they're going, oh, gosh, if you show up and do it better than me and I'm struggling, I won't like that. So they'll project these things onto you. It's not you, it's them, right? And so I think that's important to know. And I also think that guilt, I love what you shared there, that it is your internal feeling. You know, you wanted to stay at home. You wanted to have it all. You want going, oh, you know, I want to be this. Many of my clients or people who've shared already talk about the perfectionist of, you know, I want to be the perfect mum and getting everything right. But in the end, you can just show up as that best self, you know, and go, and that's enough. It is enough. And the world does not come crashing down if you take that extra hour and go and get as a woman who loves nails, go and get those nails done. You know, and why should you feel guilty about that? I remember, Pauliana, I remember thinking, oh, one of my girlfriends once said to me, you know, I got to go for a massage. And I said, I'd never had a massage, whatever age it was. It might have been like 28, 30. I'd never been to a massage. And she goes, oh my gosh, like, what's wrong with you, girl? And I'm like going, oh, well, I think it cost, like, you know, say it cost $50 or something. I'm going, I couldn't spend that money on myself. I had guilt. And then I went, oh, and but she goes, but your daughters do, you know, like 15 hours of dance class a week or this or that, whatever. You have money, you find money, you're spending it where you think there is the value. So you're actually saying that you don't have the same value. And it was really confronting to me. I didn't like it at the time.
And it's very true, Annie.
Going, I have value. And she's like looking at me like she obviously in a more empowered space. But I kind of thought about it and I went, yeah, why do I feel guilty that I can't spend $20 or $50 on myself? You know, it's lovely that I'm so passionate about my children. I have to spend every little cent on them. But is that right? You know, are they noticing it? Is it necessary? What's the balance? I think this is a journey that women around the world are like going, yeah, I'm glad you ladies are having this conversation because it is a struggle to get it right. And when you actually do step up and go, okay, what's important for me? It doesn't mean that you've got to have the whole makeup every week and just look ridiculously amazing. We're not saying that. But the little things that go, you know what, if I had this, I would feel more self-love. I would just show up a bit more as myself. That is what your children notice. That's when they go, oh my gosh, mummy's happy. Mummy.
Exactly.
They don't notice mummy pick me up at 4:30 instead of 3:30 or 6 instead of 5. They're not going to go to therapy when they're 30 about that. They're going to go to therapy when they felt that, you know, I felt abandoned or neglected or not loved because you weren't present, you know, and that present doesn't mean you need to be there 24/7. It means that when you are engaging at an appropriate time, you are fully present. That's how I feel anyway.
And that's absolutely true. And that's why one of the things that I, you know, spend a lot of time talking about and sharing the messages is this whole, you know, work-life balance thing, because what good are you if, you know, 4:30 to 10 o'clock or 8 o'clock or whatever the time your kids go to bed, they're competing for your time and affection with your phone, your laptop, your computer, you know, your stack of papers or whatever it is that you need to do. But they need to know that you're fully engaged with them, because when they were at daycare, you were fully engaged at your job.
Yeah.
They didn't come to your workplace and interrupt you. So why are you bringing your work to interrupt their world? They want mom. So I think, again, for me, it was really a struggle, and it took a lot of intentional discipline and intentional choices to be able to set those boundaries for myself. And I will tell you that as it became more and more comfortable for me, I felt so much better about myself.
Yeah. And that's what you want. You want to just feel better about yourself. You want to actually love the person you just show up as every day and continue working on that person. We're all evolving into a future self that we want to be and bring out the best qualities of ourselves. And we also want to, everyone has a world that they want to love and nurture, and we all bring things, and it's all comes down to how we allocate our time, how we value different parts, in all of, in our 24 hours, how we're going to spend and nurture that time, and also give ourselves permission to be a central part of that time and that energy and that expense. Because when that's right, as you said, once you as the core are strong and secure and confident and happy, then the other components just work so much better. It's
exactly,
like
exactly.
And major ingredient, and there's chaos.
Annie, everybody only has 24 hours. I don't care if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're the CEO of a excuse me, corporation, you're a man, you're a woman, you're 5, you're 85.
Yeah.
Everybody only has 24 hours. And so people are always, I talk about learn to love the clock, learn to love it, because in your mind, 8 to 3, 8 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever. I'm a dentist. I'm an accountant. I'm doing the thing that I'm passionate about. I'm helping people. I'm, growing a business. I'm developing the community center, whatever it is. And so if you change your mindset and to learn to love the clock instead of hating it and dreading it, I do believe you get so much more fulfillment. And then, the same clock applies at home. For years, I would take calls after hours because I feared that I would be compared to my male counterparts who could answer the phone at 6 o'clock, who would respond to an email at 7 o'clock, who were happy to set up a meeting at 9 o'clock. And so I wanted to show that I was just as good, just as available, just as capable, and just as worthy as my men counterparts. And then at one point I decided no more. I can do all of those things during the day.
Exactly.
And after 4 o'clock, 4:30, whatever, these are the choices I'm making. I want to be with the kids. I want to read the same story for the 4,000th time because my kids want me to read that story to them again. It was my pleasure. It was my joy. And I didn't want to bring that client, that opposing counsel, that problem, that piece of paper into their world. So it's tough because we want to show we're just as good, just as capable, and I'm so sorry, Annie, I'm going to forget who said the quote, but it's a very poignant, very truly, truly meaningful quote where it says, you can do anything, but not everything.
Yes.
And that has been the mantra for me for years. I can do it all, but I can't do all of it, at the same time. So you gotta pick and choose what you do when, so you enjoy it.
Oh, that is such a great way to finish, because I've just been over the last year or so just putting, stretching that exact concept into my world. I've got many people who go, oh my gosh, Annie, do you work 24/7? Because it can appear like that. But what I did was I actually intentionally chose with Women's Biz to go, okay, well, I work across the week and I'm quite happy to do that. But across that week, I've also blocked out all these specific times to mind and care for my granddaughters because I'm enjoying that time to have special times with my adult children, date nights, bits and pieces. So for me, that 9 to 5, Monday to Friday actually wasn't working because of the way I was wanting. And I was happy to actually have that extended time because my kids are now older. Whereas when they were younger, oh my gosh, I would just be so exhausted by 8 o'clock. I couldn't think, oh gee, I'd love to jump on a call. Whereas now I go, I'm quite happy to have a coaching call with someone at 9 or 10 at night because I've had these other times during the day. I might've gone hiking. I might've done something else. It's all about changing with the stage of life as well.
That's
reassessing
right.
your situation. Your situation will change as you change, as what your career needs, the ages of your children. This has just been, and even if you don't have children, you're going to be having other hobbies and passions and having incredible rewarding life. It's not even that we're talking mums in this situation we are, But as you said, Pauliana, we all have 24 hours. It's actually a choice of how we spend those hours. And I love the conversation that we're focused on mindset today. It is a bit of magic. It is magic when you actually start looking at your mindset towards how you actually, think about, shame that people put on you, how you actually consciously respond when you notice yourself, bringing up things, feeling guilty for things, and asking yourself, why? Why do I feel guilty about that? What's really, feeding that?
What's at the core? Yeah.
It'll come back to a root cause, right? It always will. You ask yourself why 4 times, it'll always come back to a root cause. And then you need to examine, is that actually, was it even good to start? And is it actually, helping me now? And if it's not, it's a fantastic time to reassess. So we are out of time. We're actually over time, and I've just loved this conversation. Oh my goodness, we can just chat so much.
You and I could do this for hours.
We can just chat for hours as women just reflecting back and giving these gems. And the great thing is, exactly one of the big reasons I started Women's Biz Global was that we can actually have this global network, global tribe of women who are loving women, supporting women, having no shame. Just saying, you go, girl, we will back you, we will support you.
That's
so
right.
Everyone coming to this summit has been given a complimentary month just to come and join us and see what it's like. So definitely take that opportunity. I look forward to meeting with you all very soon. Everyone who has spoken on our summit, like gorgeous Pauliana today, they're all part of Women's Biz Global. You can actually just drop a comment now. Definitely go and check her website. You'll see that on the screen. It's paulianalara.com. Find out a little bit more about her. You can contact her there. You can contact her via Women's Biz Tribe, and as you can with all of the other speakers. So we are going to finish up our summit now. I'm going to show you a little clip about Women's Biz Global. And till next summit, I wish you all the most incredible success over the next 3 months. Dream big and just start showing up and act bigger and ask for help. All right. Do not think you have to do this by yourself. It takes a village. Everything takes a village. And it doesn't. It is enhanced by the village. So give yourself permission to say, I don't have to do it all. Ask other women, how have you done it? What can you help me? Even aside from the summits. And I look forward to getting to know you all so much better very, very soon.
Thank you,
Hello
Anne.
and welcome. My name is Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global. As a woman, a career executive and mum of 5, I know that becoming successful in a modern day society, it can be extremely difficult and challenging. The requirements of career and business success are often overwhelming, especially when you have competing priorities like family. But that does not mean that you can't be extraordinary. At Women's Biz Global, our goal is to educate, motivate, and elevate women so that they can have the freedom to live a life they love. It doesn't matter what your current status or position is. Your empowered future starts now. Whether you're a startup or a scale-up, or you're juggling business, life, career, family, everything, we will teach you how to dominate in your niche area without the stress and overwhelm that comes from wasting time and money and energy. We will equip you to achieve success, balance, and happiness on your terms. We invite you to join Women's Biz Tribe. Start by attending Women's Biz events and enjoy the benefit of interacting with like-minded women from around the globe who are choosing to unapologetically play a bigger game. Women's Biz Coaching offers a variety of programs that may suit your needs. We have boot camps and webinars, online structured programs and incubators. They're all designed to help grow your personal and professional brand, confidence and support framework. Women's Biz Media will help you discover extraordinary women via our podcast, Memoirs of Successful Women, and reach 12 million potential readers via Women's Biz Magazine. Women's Biz Publishing will take all the pain away from getting your voice and message out into the world. Your brand value will literally skyrocket overnight. And if you would prefer to access our consulting services, I will personally ensure high value solutions are provided to meet your specific needs, to time, to budget, and all with a beaming smile. Finally, get to know our affiliate partners and learn how you might like to become one yourself. Women's Biz Global is the support network that will fast track your journey to success. So what are you waiting for? Be unapologetically you. Women's Biz Global, helping women succeed in business and life.